Life has changed this day in Paris. The usually packed streets went quiet and nearly empty after the bloody terrorist killings at lunchtime. Imagine for a moment what it's like living in the middle of this sort of a nightmare. Let's welcome into MidPoint. He's an old friend, former television broadcaster, now retired businessman living in Paris. Jim Hobbs joins us. Jim, good to talk to you.
Hey, Ed. Great to talk to you. Thanks for reaching out. And, yeah, it's very interesting here in Paris. Very unexpected on day like today. Our kids go to the American School of Paris, and, before you know it, all the after-school activities were canceled, and actually the campus was on lockdown for the last couple of hours, so scary moments for us here.
What's it like from what you have seen in the streets? Because we're hearing that people are now taking to the streets. They're trying to show solidarity for the journalists here. So do you get a sense that there's a solidarity fear, a sense of fear out there? What is it?
Yeah, I think there's real shock and outrage. The word is that, the gunmen spoke very fluent French, and the fact that it can happen right here in Paris. There's been a lot of conversations, that we have, especially at the American Church of Paris, which is, they feel as if in the United States, with the current gun laws and the situation where it seems to them to be almost like the Wild West at times when they read in the media what's happening in the U.S., and then for this to happen right here on their soil where they pretty much, think that an attack such as this just can't happen. It would just be unheard of. I think there's just sheer appalled shock, and the sirens out our window. We're in the 7th arrondissement, which is right in the basically middle of Paris, right on the left bank, and you can just feel there's a lot of energy and a lot of concern. People want to go do something. They're just not sure exactly what to do. So people are definitely out on the streets at the moment.
There was a novel that has come out, the newest novel from Michel Houellebecq called Soumission, which is on display at some of the bookstores here, which basically talks about a Muslim society taking over France by 2022 or 2024. Do you get a sense that there is a real fear of Islamization from the people there in Paris?
I think to an extent, especially in the political forum. For instance, with our kids at the American School of Paris, I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6% of the students at that school are Muslim, and there have been letters sent out to parents. I coach on the JV and varsity basketball teams. They're not allowed to dress in certain types of sweats and sweatpants and let people take notice that, hey, this is an American school, that type of thing. The American Church, in fact, actually has 2 of the security guards are Muslim, and there's a real sort of camaraderie with the person that is integrated within the community, that this is not something to be concerned about, this sort of increased Muslim, let's call it, presence in the city. Now, on the political side, I think it's totally different, and I think there's been a fear and an outrage, not just Muslim, but just anything that would come into, from an immigration standpoint, changing the way that the French politics are looked at and run. And that is really, I think, where the fear is dialed up. And I think you're going to see that coming up, in the elections. I mean, Sarkozy was just on maybe 3 hours ago. Hollande spoke maybe 45 minutes ago. And the scene is very chaotic from a political standpoint, for sure.
All right, I only got about 10 seconds left. Do you fear for your life or your kids' lives?
No, not really. It's been, I would say, it's very safe overall in general, and I think that's why there is this outrage and shock. People just can't believe something like this can happen right in the middle of it. People can't believe that the gunmen could get away that quickly. I think that's the real shock.
That's going to be the next thing, too, because all 3 gunmen are still actually on the loose. Jim, always a pleasure to catch up, my friend. It's been a long time. Please, to you, the wife, the kids, please stay safe. I'll look forward to catching up with you soon, my friend.
Sounds great. Great to hear you, Ed. Thanks
again. You too,
again.
Jim. Take care. Jim Hobbs, now an American living in Paris. It is a story that we will continue to cover because undoubtedly the 3 gunmen are still loose. It is still going on. We'll be watching it right here. Rock on, true believers. Thanks so much for joining us. Wednesday's done. Midweek on MidPoint. We're back again tomorrow with more right here on the show that questions everything.